And now a brief history of actual attacks on my brand, starting with this one from the summer of 14 during the Troll Wars. Then there were these jackasses who constantly tried to invade my discussion tab and made me depressed at the age of 11. Then we had this in 2015, which almost made me delete my fucking YouTube channel, and that was too weird. I thought that was the end, but here we are 10 years later with this goddamn bullshit that we're going to debunk for the next 30 minutes and possibly more. Disclaimer, I'm not here to defend Blake. I've done enough defending of him in 2024. When I talk about his disorders, I'm giving you the actual disorders that doctors have confirmed that he has. But at this point, many people have said they don't excuse actions, and I understand that. In this video, we're going to debunk several claims made in Rhapsody's video, as well as delve into my own relationship with my former partner called Blake Romano, and how this affected the two servers and much more. Begin the video. Welcome to the video. I am Blue Ruby, Blossom Ruby, Ruby Rhapsody, Gemma Conda, mostly known as Gemma over in Rebel Shadows Rhapsody's video about this topic. This video is going to be about the same topic, Blake Romano. But in this video, we're going to handle things differently. For example, in this video, I'm not going to show his face. I'm not going to show his voice, because his face and voice are not relevant to my side of the video. Well, I'll go look at his face and his voice and go watch Rhapsody's 2 hour and 50 minute long, whatever the fuck it is, video. This video, we're going to talk about how Blake affected me, our relationship history, things that happened, and we're also going to debunk several things that happened within the Republic of Azura server, because several of those things need to be addressed by me, the person who kind of sort of caused everything. This is not a defense of the shit that Blake said. This is not commending him for doing anything. There's been enough of that. This is debunking claims. This is also rehashing some things that were said in Rhapsody's video about things happened in the server, and I'm going to give you a broader explanation of what happened, and we're also going to delve into my thoughts into how I handle things within my server and also in DMs, and we're going to look at my thought process as well as his thought process, and we're also going to debunk several other things throughout this video. This video is not intended to cause shit or drama or any further mental issues. Certain situations have been omitted for privacy, and also because some of this really doesn't need to be made public or talked about in a YouTube video. Some of these screenshots in this video were also taken from the Rhapsody doc about Blake, and credit to Rhapsody for that entire doc and his 2 hour long video expressing his grievances and concerns about Blake, and presenting them in a much darker light than we ever could possibly do on this video or this YouTube channel. Also, I may start voice training and other things during the course of this video, so sometimes my voice may change. Also, I am using my mic, and sometimes I'm not. This recording has been on January 3rd, 2025. Exactly 1 month from when Shadow allegedly started working on his video. So we're going to begin this right now, because I really do not have channel permission to upload a fucking 3 hour long video. Blake Romano is a 22-year-old trans male. If you dead name him, I'm going to actually fucking kick your ass. I don't care. We don't dead name people on the Blue Ruby channel. But me and Blake had met in a Sailor Moon themed Discord server on December of 2022, just before Christmas. Now, contrary to what Shadow claimed in his video, me and Blake did not immediately start dating. I don't know where the hell that shit came from. We start dating for quite a while, but me and Blake started a friendship in late 2022 on Discord, and it blossomed from there. Eventually, a relationship formed. Now, over time, Blake had wanted to join my server, but I didn't let him in, and we started dating on April 5th of 2023, and we talked, we called, we had fun. It was fun, real fun. Then came June 8th, 2023, when Blake had finally entered my server as a normal user. Then on June 15th, 2023, Rhapsody had joined the server after being exiled for another amount of drama that happened, and that started this whole shit show. After a few temporary promotions and stuff, Blake came out as a full-on admin in my server later in the summer of 2023. I do believe it happened in either July or August. Wherever it was after the Dark Author incident that I don't have the time or the patience to deal with in this video, and it happened over there, and at the time people, they went with it, but we began to realize that it was very controversial. And we learned this was controversial because I did not remember this in any fucking capacity, but in October of 2021, I apparently, because this keeps getting brought up in a screenshot, that I had made a promise after the Connor Larimore Mama Dama fallout that I would not make my partners admins in the server anymore unless they had experience. I don't remember doing this. I think that Dama chose to be a freaking jackass, but I apparently did that, and that led to the controversy about Blake being an admin. But we're not here to talk about all of that. We're here to talk about, well, we can actually fast forward a few things from here because most of this is covered in Shadow's video. Blake and Shadow had their own little spats and shit shows that happened throughout November, December. I was there to see one of them in which Blake had left Twitter. I'm not going into that bullshit on this video because I'm not here to do that. We're going to touch on the Christmas incident, and then we're going to go to the first debunking, which is February of 2024. On Christmas, Blake and Shadow fought for 8 fucking hours. There was so much lashing out, so much everything, and wasted everybody's time. You can find how that ended in the Rebel Shadow video. This was when we knew that things were going to take a downward turn for this server and everybody else. Nice foreshadowing, I guess. February 23rd, 2024. 24th, mostly the 23rd. Blake was drunk. Many people believe he was not drunk. Rebel Shadow's argument is that he wasn't drunk at all and was faking everything. But overall, I handled this situation completely wrong and completely bullshit. And we're going to debunk a lot of this stuff. Specifically, what Shadow said right here in this part of his video.
Way a sober brain does. You were cognizant of the shit you were saying even when sober. You knew what you were doing. Don't ban me for hurting myself. My body, my choice. Not like Gemma was planning on taking action against you anyway. I'll discuss that part later.
And we'll discuss that part now, a whole fucking hour ahead of when it's discussed in that video. Okay, basically, I've never been that damn drunk. And I'm the same age as Blake. I've never been that damn drunk. And I've seen drunk people on TV and people around that like that. So I thought that Blake was really drunk. And one thing that I did in the relationship a lot is that I gave Blake the benefit of the doubt as his boyfriend. Because you want to make your relationship work out. And you don't want internet drama and other bullshit to get in the way of that. You want your relationships, when you date someone, it's through thick and thin. And you want to let that, and you want them to let it happen. And you want to try to fix them. And my goal with Blake was to try to fix him, give him freedom. I don't want to be a controlling, abusive boyfriend in a relationship. And Blake has made that known. So at the time, I thought it would have been better for Blake and Shadow to resolve this in their DMs. At the same time, I repeatedly fucking wanted Blake to calm the fuck down, get off the internet, and stop antagonizing, lashing out at people, and causing shit, especially because we had this same fucking incident on Christmas Day, which it was the original spiral out of control that this server had. Eventually, Blake apologized and that happened, and we thought things were fine and we wouldn't have to deal with this. But this February 2024 incident seemed to have been the first time that I had lost the trust of the server and the people and everything else going on. Me and Blake would go on to handle this in our own personal way in DMs, and he would apologize for fucking over my server and his other partner and everybody else like that. We thought that would work. Unfortunately, that just was not enough. Breakup threat number 2, possibly the worst server couple of all time. But according to Blake, I never actually said anything to shut up about his actions. Yeah, okay, sure.
You fuck yourself. Why don't you take your own advice? And then here we have Gemma who's like, how about waiting on Blake to be sober? How about actually fucking doing something about his behavior?
Well, from that clip, you can certainly tell that people were not a fan of me reasoning with Blake and trying to understand his health problems at all. Because at that point, I think it was just me caring about myself too much, and I didn't really need to be like that. But also is the fact that I had seen how many freaking fights Blake and Shadow had over the most trivial of shit, and I realized that I had catered to literally every fucking thing Blake wanted for quite a while, and unfortunately that resulted in all this bullshit going on, and not only the criticism and the hatred for Blake, but also the criticism against me and the near complete fucking tanking of the Blue Ruby brand back in October of 2024, which I think we're going to fast forward to within the next 3 minutes of this video. But overall, watching Shadow's video, it was quite obvious that I needed to handle Blake better. But the problem with that is, would me and Blake have had the same fight rate that he and Shadow did? And I think we probably would have ended up going that way. I probably would have got the same threats, the same shit. And that would have probably been me fucking up what was otherwise a good relationship at that time. But at this point, as I learned later on, that this is not about me. This is about all the traumatized and hurt people around here. Egging this fucking bullshit on is helping absolutely nobody, and I try to tell you this so many fucking times, but you would constantly bring this shit up. Please, do better. First of all, Blake, they're not holding shit against you. They're holding you accountable for the bullshit that you did. They're doing the same damn shit to me right now, which is kind of why we're here in this video. Because in parts of that shit Shadow made that took 3 hours, he in fact did call out my handling of the situation, and has pretty much outside of that has held me accountable multiple times, to the point where there was a chance at everybody here also cutting ties with me. This stock training is sponsored by the ASPCA in PETA. And so the summer came and went. We had about a few days of drama to start June. We recovered from that. I tried to help Blake and Shadow and everybody else out, and Blake and Shadow had their anniversary. Me and Blake's first anniversary was April 5th of 2024, which was 2 months following that February incident. And then on the 21st of September, fighting came back with that major call that happened between those two. And then, oh, by the way, Blake officially came out as a trans male in late August of 2023, so we celebrated his coming out anniversary in August of 2024. Then September of 2024, September 22nd, all of this shit went down in the server, and this is where my ability to be an admin and an owner of my server was called into question by everybody, including Blake himself. I wish to God Blake did not fucking do this, because he fucked up the server with this. And I did anything for Blake's safety, and it ended up backfiring severely because now there's a 2-hour long video. Realize when you're in the fucking wrong and stop fighting people when you're in the fucking wrong. So I talked to Blake about this a while back. Actually, Blake brought it up himself a while back. So that in that incident, he apologized, and he has said that what actually happened there was Blake was jealous of Shadow getting that job, because at the same time Blake wanted a job like that for his dad, but they denied Blake the job for some fuck ass reason. Blake didn't get that job. Blake's been trying to get a job for a while now, and that is what caused all of this. Having said that, I feel like Blake should have straight up said that in the chat instead of going the way he did and setting Rebel Shadow off like that, especially considering that we all know what Shadow is like, and saying something like that about a cancer patient was extremely fucked up. If I did that, I would have been exiled right there. Disclaimer, we are not showing the self-harm incident here. I personally did not think that we should be spreading people's self-harm pictures around, but Shadow can do whatever the fuck he wants. He has made it clear that he was the victim of September 22nd. I personally believe that we all fucked up. Shadow said some fucked up things, Blake fucked up, and I certainly fucked up. This was an absolutely massive incident. We had multiple fucking people banned, but it was purged. People wanted to forget about it, especially Blake. But Blake purging this did not remove the detrimental impact this had on the community and my server as a whole. With some of the things that I'm hearing out of my family right now, I think that had this not happened, we would have eventually be heading toward a forced Blake breakup anyway, but that is another conversation. Within a month, the relationship cratered. I was not the person Blake wanted, and it just did not feel the same, and I could not be both me and Shadow for him. And Shadow had every right to leave that relationship. Shadow, he was tired of the bullshit, and you don't just get a 2-hour long video out of fucking nowhere. Shadow was clearly and beyond tired of the bullshit. Despite everything, I wanted Blake to still be around. I genuinely cared for him. I wanted him to improve as a person, but this community did not run that time, especially when people are traumatized and being threatened. They did not have time to sit here and watch me try to change him, and instead I had to make a very serious change in the relationship and his stance to the community. After all the Blake apologies, after the Shadow and Blake breakup, after the dust settled on September 22nd, I came and I tried to get everybody back on the same page and bring Blake back to the server and do things the right way. Unfortunately, at the time, we were well past that, and it was sad because within this time frame, me and Blake's relationship went from one of the community's favorite couples to almost literally having worse PR than Keegan and Ky had back in the day, and it just completely cratered, and it was fucking with both our reputations. And at the time, Blake had taken a break on his own merit, and I was hoping that we could safely bring him back to the server, but he came back anything but safely. Every goddamn attempt to reason with this community that Blake was my boyfriend and I wanted him back in the server did not work. It was clear these people were tired of the raging and the bullshit and the drama and all this other fucking uncalled for bullshit, which led to that situation in the staff chat you see right there. But did Blake care at the time? No, he fucking didn't. So what did Blake do? Decided to fucking rage at me on call while getting back in the server, and despite repeatedly telling him that he could not join, I eventually ended up letting him in, and nobody really cared for 4 days. The contrary to, they never really cared that much. But then eventually, he started. It was hurtful to Sean, and I've already apologized to Sean about that, and it was extremely hurtful for Sean, and it also led to several fucking shit starting to be said about me supposedly siding with, it would deter a whole bunch of fucking crazy shit. But what mattered is that Sean had to be safe. And not just Sean, Daphne, and everybody else in the freaking server who had to deal with this bullshit. It was no longer about me and my comfort. It was basically fuck your comfort. Yeah, because mine was not important. I needed to care more about these people, so Blake ended up having to get banned again, and the server is now currently in a state of rebuilding. Now, why did Blake come back to the server so easily? Well, historically, my autistic, anxious ass is easily able to crack under pressure. Matter of fact, somebody's currently already cracking me under pressure right now. If this person keeps fucking harassing me, that piece of shit is going to get their own video made. And that video, I will be as aggressive as Rebel Shadow is, because I'm fucking tired of that person's bullshit already. But anyways, back to Blake. I'm easy to crack under pressure, and he got the best of me with that. And I was just tired, so I let him back in the server, which ended up being the worst move of October 2024 for me. This was the length of safety I went to protect Blake. But had this happened, had this actually gone through, the community would have been hosting street parades around my blacklisting. That shit, them announcements would have hit this community like crack. Blue Ruby has been banned for this, and this. Also in that time frame was the Blake jail incident, which would have traumatized me as much as it did Shadow. Like, you can't sugarcoat that. That was insane. But we're not here to talk about that. So after this happened, pause to read that if you care enough about it. Me and Blake did what he and Shadow did. A far cry from what was initially planned. Now, this is out of order, but I'm going to show you Shadow's reaction to the plans. This is his reaction to the original plans to bring Blake back as an admin, which would have fucked everything up.
Into Gemma's server, which unfortunately succeeded, much to everyone's chagrin. As for this screenshot here, I'm just glad that this didn't go into effect, because if it did, Gemma would have immediately lost my respect for bringing him back to the staff team despite public backlash and outcry. Either way, watch the chaos continue.
That dadgum bullshit would not have helped anyone. Now we're going to move on to the final thoughts that Shadow gave to me, which I'm going to debunk a few things about, and we're also going to talk about my current thoughts about Blake.
Somewhere out of your mind, got me moving like speed.
At the end of Rebel Shadow's document and subsequent video he made on this whole situation, he states that there are only two people that I need to call out and hold accountable during this whole ordeal. The second person in this is Dixodon, and I'm just tell you right now that please stop fucking harassing Dixodon. He does not need the fucking harassment right now. He is going through a lot, and he's trying to do a few different things right now, and the last fucking thing he needs is this community and the people around this community clowning on him and harassing him about shit, especially when he's going through mental problems. So respectfully, leave Dixodon the fuck alone. He is a good person. He is doing what he can. The second person in this call out is me, and Shadow had quite a lot to say about me. Pretty much said everything except that I'm not forgiving you for this. We're going to debunk a few things in this in 5, 1.
The city never felt so cold. I know you're sick and tired, and it lets me know that I should probably be on my own. And I can never trust a soul for real love.
I'm going to start off by saying that Sam Lunaris Proctor had a super long, and I do mean very, very long, but heartfelt and very effective message in his response in Over in Shadow's video, and that was pretty well. But now we're going to read through what Rebel Shadow had said about me in my call.
There are only two people that I need to call out and hold accountable during this whole ordeal. Number one, Gemma. Please don't take this as a stab in the back, because it's not. You're my friend and I've known you for 4 years, but this is the part where I have to hold you accountable.
Bring it, motherfucker.
October 10th, 2021, after the ousting of Dama, otherwise known as Connor Larimore, a notorious pedophile with a diaper fetish, who was also promoted to admin from August 19th, 2021 to his ousting on October 10th, 2021. Immediately after hitting on you and messing up the server's culture for the next 2 months, you made a promise to Nostalgia Works that your next partner would slowly work their way up to a staff position like everyone else. Fast forward to...
Not completely related to the topic at hand, but here's every attempt that Blake wanted to come into my server, all of which I rejected, so it took basically quite a while for me to even be ready for Blake to be in the server, because I had seen how he acted elsewhere, and I wasn't ready to have him in there yet. He needed to be ready for the community.
On July 10th, 2023, Blake threw a temper tantrum in response to a minor mood swing Nostalgia Works had when he was forced off meds by insurance bullshit. This is where you increased the strict staff limit from 9 to 11 people. Blake and I were given mod powers as members of the poly relationship he had with you and me. And then came August 14th, 2023. I got unbanned from Emily's server and returned to the admin team after a 1.5 year long absence. Blake threw a tantrum, and he was placed above all the other admins for his quote-unquote safety. The truth was, he was never, quote-unquote, fearing for his safety.
I've known Blake for a long time. I know the guy's fearing for his safety. And he's done this he's feared for his safety almost all the time, especially right now. But this had to happen. So, but overall, I think that he was in staff too early. And even the freaking 1 month long wait, that was enough, because this has been brought up in the damn video. So I put Blake on staff too fucking early, and it probably should have dealt with the fights and fallout that came from him not being an admin. Because when he returned to the server in October of 2024, he was not an admin. This video is already long enough as it is, so we're going to just summarize the rest of Shadow's little thing here about me and tell you my thoughts and more. I do not approve of the chaos Blake caused. I think he caused way too much fucking chaos. He caused more chaos than most people I've ever seen in this community, and it didn't need to happen that way. And when he started banning people for no reason, my own fucking friends, Blue Midnight, and freaking people like Daphne and all the others, I think that was overkill. Blake overblew the fuck out of that shit, and it did not help anybody at all. Like Blue Midnight said in that screenshot, that was like an hour ago in the video, this did not help anyone. So Shadow says that he is upset as that my inaction against every situation that involved him. I feel like I should have taken more action against Blake than what I did, and probably just dealt with the fallout and the fighting that would have happened. Or hopefully Blake would have realized that he was fucking up shit, and he would have done what he did, but I can't read Blake's mind. And he accuses me of guilt tripping in this, or I would say stuff like, you guys are the reason why this fight happened, which ended up not being true, because Blake caused all the damn fights in the server. Blake caused a lot of fucking shit. And then he talks about Blake's suicide, and I'm not going into that because I take suicide, regardless of who the person is, I take that fucking shit very, very seriously. And he says that I am complicit in Blake's anger fits. That's a new one. So we're going to now debunk the thing where he says that Blake has completely emasculated me. And the reason he says that is because that I was called a pushover, and says that I was willing to do anything for Blake, which is true. I was willing to do anything for the guy. Like, that was, I loved Blake a lot, and I was trying to keep our love, and it was a love he needed, it was a love that we liked, and I was trying to put on a whole server couple thing, and I was hoping, but unfortunately, it just did not work, and at this point, I'm not even sure if the community would even be ready for me to have another partner or come to the server. Like, I don't know if I would even bring another partner into the server right now. And also, because of all this, I am glad that none of the people I wanted in the poly never got in, because if that were the case, I certainly would have lost all those friendships, and they would have blocked me. And had I brought people into the poly with all this shit with Blake and his fucked up actions and the way Shadow would fight people, we wouldn't have had a functioning relationship that long. We probably would have ended in January or February of last year. It wouldn't have been fun for anybody. But I happened to just do a lot of things wrong, and I stepped in and threw Blake the fuck out at the right time, but by that point, there was just too many traumatized people. This thing is 30 minutes long. What the fuck? We're now going to talk about, okay, we're gonna get straight to the final thoughts about this now. And now here are my final thoughts to Shadow and to Blake and the others, and then we can wrap up this video that's already been too fucking long. Well, here's some more screenshots of the Nostalgia Works money incident to go see Shadow, and some more other fallout. Make of this what you will. It'll either be debunked or it won't. And Blake also had his own doubts about even going to see Shadow in the first place, and he also wanted to come down here to Florida to see me and my mom, and I know for a fact my mom would never approve of that. And what happened with Shadow is that it just ended up not being a good time, and now we know that that's a good thing it didn't happen, because his mom would kick Blake's ass the fuck out. But I seriously wish that Blake had actually communicated this with Nostalgia Works better, instead of what we have known to actually happen, because Nostalgia Works has vented about this several times. One more thing, Shadow confronted Blake on December 7th, 2024, which happens to also be the anniversary of the conversation when this video is being uploaded, and he promptly wasted 6 hours of everybody's fucking time, because that went nowhere, and there may or may not be extra to that over in the video. I hardly remember that part of the video over his shit, but that did happen. But I was only there for like fucking 30 minutes, so that's not even something we're going into in this video. Going to the final thoughts. We'll start with my thoughts to Rebel Shadow. To Rebel Shadow, Rhapsody, because you called me the fuck out in that damn video. And I also got one of the triggered edits in that one. To you, I do apologize for how Blake treated you and how that relationship went. You definitely would have had a better time had it gone the same way that me and Blake's relationship did for most of it, but you held your ground, you held who you were, and Blake wasn't able to handle that, and honestly, most people saw a fucking breakup coming for a long time. We just didn't know who the hell was going to initiate it. But you're better without him, and I wish you fucking handled shit better. I wish you didn't start randomly fucking saying slurs and shit. I wish you didn't start randomly saying completely out of the fucking box shit that nobody cared to want to hear at all. But I know Blake probably drove you to do that shit. And honestly, I was hoping that after you took your month-long break last year, and you said you were coming back to change, I was hoping that you would be completely changing and for the better, and you did, and it appears you're still working on yourself. You have a lot of mental stuff as well, so you're working on yourself, and hopefully being away from Blake is the one thing you need, and I hope that you do get to watch this video before you go to Africa, and that you know that I do apologize for how I handled things with you. To Son Lunaris Proctor, Blake should not have fucking death threatened you. And that's already out in the open in that over on Shadow's video. We didn't get to that here, but he should never have did that. And I honestly really liked you and Blake's friendship because you guys bonded over ponies, and that was so cute and adorable. And I wish that it had to have stayed that way, because you needed somebody to love your interests like that you talk to on a regular, and not fucking lashing on you. But what happened, and we cannot change that. And you're away from him. He made you uncomfortable. You got away from him. You did the right thing, and you gave me some pretty good advice about me, my relationships, and how I handle Blake. Thank you. To Daphne Cortez, I do also apologize for the shit that Blake said about Daphne's uncles. And Blake also apologized, but we're seen to be, unfortunately, we're all past all of that, and now we have a huge fucking drama scandal that is hopefully put the fucking rest after this video is released, because the last thing we need to deal with is drama in 2025. And lastly, to Blake, my ex-boyfriend of a year and a half. I'm not going to be like Shadow here. He has his own thoughts. I have my own thoughts. You messed this whole thing up. And I can't sugarcoat that anymore, because there's a fucking 2-hour and 50-minute long video. Thankfully, this is not a 2-hour long video, but there's a 2-hour, 50-minute long video that pretty much proves that you messed this shit up. But truthfully, I think we all fucked up. We all managed to fuck up what could have been a good poly. But in your case, I'm proud of you for going to therapy. I'm proud of you for at least trying to get your fucking life together. I hope that Shadow also is trying to get his life together, but we're talking about you right now, and you're getting your life together. And not happy with how you acted. I'm very fucking disappointed in the lashing out of people in my server, the random threatening to ban members in my server, the actually straight up banning people in my server, the all the shit that happened with Shadow, and all the traumatized people and the contributing the trauma and all this other shit that was going on. I am not happy with that, and I'm disappointed with that, and you have shown my thoughts. Even you have been showing my thoughts about it. And I'm also not happy with all the fucking random lashing out at me that you've also done back in November and December and at the start of this month. It has not fucking helped anything. And I hope that you took Shadow's advice during the confrontation and all the other things. And I'm going to give you the same advice as well. My advice to you is to be a better fucking person. Listen to your therapist if they're good. And hopefully in the next community you end up in, you do not get involved in bullshit like this and involved and lash out at people and start shit. Like, no. I get you have your BPD and anxiety. I have anxiety as well. But I'm just hoping that you learn to not constantly lash out at people and all this other fucking bullshit that has been discussed, because now it has hurt people and there's no fucking way to get around the fact that it did. I tried to do it. I tried to reason. It did not help. So, that's my message to you. Just be a better person than you are. And I'll work on myself as well. May this be the end of the video. And there you have it. This was the longest video in the history of the Blue Ruby YouTube channel. Didn't plan it to be that way, but it is. That's all. And all I can say to this one is, if too long didn't read, is that Me and Blake dated for a year and a half. He got involved with Shadow, and things took a downward turn in both relationships, and he started lashing out at people, and I ignored people's cries for help, and that pretty much fucked everything up. I don't know what I could have done to. I mean, I could have given Blake disciplinary action, but I don't know if that would have saved our relationship. I think eventually Blake would have gotten tired of it and most likely left on his own merit, because that's how people are in this community. They get tired of shit, they leave, they start shit. So I think if I actually did what I was supposed to have done, Blake probably would have left on his own merit. We would have had a complete fucking scandal about this way months sooner than we actually ended up having it. But I know what I needed to do. I needed to handle Blake better, and right now I'm not even sure if I even should have another partner in my servers at this point, because I feel like that trust has been lost. Like, I don't even know if this community would be able to handle me dating somebody else and having them as an admin in my server, because this has happened twice now. Although me and Nama never dated, that still gets counted, and I'm not sure what the hell to do at this point. But it's 2025, and this is a rebuilding era of this channel, server, brand, everything. We're changing things up. I would like to thank everyone who sat through this video, sat through the claims, everything else, heard my side of this, heard how I feel about everything, and let's all try to be better people in the year 2025. From all of us here at Blue Ruby and Studio Luna, thank you. We'll have that error compilation out sometime this month or next month. I don't fucking know. Have a great night on this Tuesday, January 7th, 2025.